Okay, guys, thank you for being here. And I know we've started a little late, but we had to actually wait for the CM to finish. It has cut our session short a little bit. But let's start. I have to say that I'm really privileged to be moderating an extraordinary panel of women. Women who've done some amazing work in their lifetime and who represent different genres, different tools. So I'm going to start immediately. I'm starting with Banuji, aapke saath. We all know she's the winner of the International Booker Prize 2025. आप बंध्या साहित्य मूवमेंट के साथ बहुत जुड़ी हुई हैं. I want to just ask you, you grew up in a conventional Muslim family in Kannada, huh? What was that inside you? आपके अंदर वो क्या spark था that got you to become part of this? It's called rebel literature, right? So threads of dissent. We're talking about protest. We're talking about sort of not agreeing, about rebellion. ये कहाँ से आया? Because we're talking about the 70s and the 80s. 79 में ये शुरू हुआ था, है ना? So could you just take us a little through what was it that inspired you to step forward? Was it your family that inspired, that was a little unconventional? Yeah, it was a path that you chose on your own.
Shall I speak in Hindi or English?
What do you prefer? I think we've got a mixed audience, right? So आप हिंदी में बोल सकते हैं, like थोड़ा दिन इंग्लिश का एक अनुवाद भी दे दीजिए.
ठीक है.
Whatever you're comfortable with.
Yeah. To tell you frankly, rebellion was my inbuilt nature.
Okay.
Yeah, but the spark came after marriage. I was confined to four walls of my home only, but I protested and I insisted that I want to read more and I want to have some out of the home work also. I want to get involved in those work also. घर के बाहर के कामों में भी थोड़ा intellectual कामों में भी मैं involve होना चाहती हूँ. ये मेरा demand था और मैं बहुत ही effective तौर से इसको present किया. और एक बार इसके दौरान जब मुझे बहुत ही disappointment हुआ तो मैं एक बार अपने ऊपर पेट्रोल छिड़क के सुसाइड करने की भी कोशिश की थी. इसके बाद मेरा हस्बैंड थोड़ा he started taking care of me, but he could not go against. We were living in joint family, and he had also to follow the so many norms of joint family. He was the eldest son, so he had so many responsibilities. But he started breaking the barriers, and he took me to the library, district library. He accompanied me. When I went there, I saw some Dalit youths. They were having one instrument, musical instrument. We call it as tamate. दायरे के जैसा रहता है वो.
Right.
And when I went to the library, they were singing some revolutionary songs using this tamate. It was such a great event for me. घर से बाहर जब निकली तो वो इतना इंस्पायर हुआ उनका म्यूजिक और उनके जो वर्ड्स थे और जो रेवोल्यूशन उनके ज़बान से निकल रही थी. इट वाज सो इंस्पायरिंग. मेरे रूंगटे खड़े हो गए.
Wow.
I was drawn towards them. I was drawn towards their concepts. And they were expressing the injustices caused against them in the name of caste hierarchy. And that was true. Really, I was attracted towards the substance and the material and the way they were presented. Immediately next day, there was no telephone like this. Communication was not easy. I went to them, I contacted them, and I said, I want to know more about you.
Right. And were you accompanied by your husband this time, or he let you go alone?
No, I went alone. But it so happened after about 6 months, joint family asked me and my husband to get out of their home.
Bad example.
बड़ी बहू के थोड़े जिम्मेदारियां और रिस्ट्रिक्शंस होते हैं, ये पालन नहीं कर रही है. इसलिए आप जाके अपना खुद कुछ घर बना लो।
तो लिखना आपने तब से शुरू कर दिया था? Were you already writing?
नहीं, मैं तो शादी से पहले ही एक
You were
स्टोरी लिख
writing.
के पब्लिश हुई थी।
Okay.
बाद में देयर वाज ए लॉन्ग गैप।
Gap.
शादी, बच्चे, घर, घरेलू रिस्ट्रिक्शंस।
And they were trying to tell you कि आपकी जगह, this is your place.
Yes.
You have to be within the four walls.
Yeah, but I was not willing to accept it.
Right.
That was the throat, that was the trait. I was not accepting which was imposed on me.
Right.
I would not accept.
Right.
Whatever
And
was true, justified, I used to accept.
choice के बारे में, you keep talking about that choice is every human being's birthright.
Yeah.
And the choice is not just being, I mean, we don't just write for Muslim women or women. It's about also caste and oppression and injustice
Yes.
for the marginalized. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that you've got the Booker Prize and Heartland has been, अब क्या है? How are they receiving you now?
No, it's a different thing. ने अब की बात नहीं है। तब में ही जब मैं घर से बाहर आई, उसके और मेरे पेरेंट्स के साथ रही, मेरे पेरेंट्स के घर के पास लगत में एक दूसरा घर था. I stayed there, and my mother and sisters, they looked after my children. I had 3 daughters continuously, and people were saying, oh लड़कियों की माँ है, लड़कियों उसको खुद से संभल के रहना चाहिए, वरना उसके बेटियों को कौन शादी करेगा.
Right.
That was also another restriction cast upon me, but I rejected that idea also. I said लड़कियाँ खुद पढ़ाई लिखाई करेंगे, खुद अपना मुकाम बनाएंगे और खुद अपना घर बसाएंगे. उसमें मेरा कोई रोल नहीं रहना चाहिए, और मैं जो करती हूँ नहीं करती हूँ वो मेरे बच्चों के ऊपर इफेक्ट करना चाहिए. इसी तरह तीनों लड़कियां लॉयर्स बने, एक तो KSB के कॉम्पिटिटिव एग्जामिनेशन भी के, ऑल द 3 of them were gold medalist in the university.
That's amazing, Mani.
या इस
Amazing.
तरह से वो खुद
Amazing.
अपना मुकाम बना लिए,
I think because we're running short of
और
time.
हर चीज में तोड़ते चली गई.
Amazing, really.
या, वही तो बात है.
Really, that's why you continue to inspire. And in fact, because we're running short of time, I'm going to get Dipti in here. आपने जो कहा that you doused yourself with kerosene, and Dipti has been part of the feminist street theatre movement. And it's interesting, it's the same timeline, 70s and the 80s,
Yes.
right? And, it's interesting today, when we're talking about issues, I find women say, yeah, but I'm not a feminist. Feminism
Yeah.
seems to
Tag.
have a negative tag. When we're talking about the 70s and the 80s, we had men saying that they were feminists. Because feminism just meant advocating equal rights for women, right? Across all gender, am I right? Yeah? So being a feminist doesn't mean that you're male or female. You believe in equal rights. What a time that was, Dipti. And your book, I'm not carrying it here. Yes. Walking out, speaking up, it really outlines all the women. I was looking at the photographs, and from Ian Lal to Gauri Chaudhary to, my gosh. And I have to say that Vrinda was part of that also. Today she's a Supreme Court, one of our best known criminal lawyers, part of the street theatre movement. Sanjoy was part of that. Lots of our friends, right? Anyway, magical time. No, never mind where you came from. You just wanted to break free the shackles and speak up. Tell us a little about the time that, and a bit about Om Swaha, your iconic play.
Sure. Thank you, Punita. Thank you, all of you, for being here. So the times, yes, why I wrote this book is because I felt that those times were something so magical, so important, and we were resisting, we were fighting, we were out on the streets. It was not easy. It was a time when actually the issues that are very much in the public domain now, of rape, of violence in the home, were completely invisible. They weren't even in the newspaper, they were happening. So the women's movement really came up out of extreme anger and extreme, pain, anger, and energy. So the energy was that this has to at least end, you know, at least some resistance to this has to begin. It can't, so all we were reading was in the newspaper a tiny little item. Every week there would be something, a woman is burnt in her home, kerosene के stove से वो जल के मर गई. Now, kerosene का stove से जल के मर गई, everybody accepted. The police did nothing about it. It was not a case. She was buried and gone, burnt and gone. So the women's movement was actually amazing at that time, and it's important to realize for the reason that what we have as laws, you know, the dowry laws changed, the rape laws changed in certain ways. Those came about because of the women's movement and a certain consciousness, which is really what we're got to keep hold of. Because those issues have just not gone away. They probably become, there's more violence because of every which kind of reason. There's more violence against women, there's more violence against every kind of dispossessed, you know, the indigenous people of this land, there's violence against Dalits, there's injustice. The women's movement, how it was magical was because we somehow came out of this very quiet, docile. I was extremely quiet. I could never have imagined myself doing street theatre.
Exactly.
You know, I was just a bookworm reading. And
सड़क पर निकल गए.
so it was the times, you know, there were people who did a theatre workshop in which we spoke about our lives slowly. Everybody was sick of sexual harassment on the buses, on the roads. So that touched all of us. You know, violence is a continuum. It's not that we're untouched by it because we're middle class, as we're often it's thrown at us. But we are also deeply, you know, embroiled in violence. So it's the structures of society. It's the patriarchal family. And it's the natal family that it begins in, and it carries on in the sasural. So at that time, we took up the sasural greatly because that's where the burning of women was happening. Not only in Delhi, but across the country. I mean, there were cases and cases horrifying. So I have documented some of those cases from the press cuttings of the time. That is a minuscule number of the cases. And then I've really gone on to talk about how women resisted, because women just began coming out on the roads. You know, the first protests in 1979 were covered by television because it had never happened before, that so many women come out on protest in the streets of Delhi. Can you imagine? I mean, it's been happening then forever. So we've been on a roll. But the 80s became a time when there were infinite, endless protests hote the.
Dipti, if I can interrupt also, you know, your plays were open-ended. I found that fascinating.
So the plays were actually kind of part of the movement. They were bringing the issues out into the public domain, into everybody, because उस समय traffic नहीं था इतना, बहुत कम traffic था. उस समय social media नहीं था. तो हम लोग अगर जाके, say there are 10, 12 of us, and we go to boat club or we go anywhere public, we just put our chappals and jutas in a circle, people would gather, and we are doing the play, and somebody is beating the drum amongst us and calling people. So 100, 200 people would just gather. Our plays were spectacular, because we had the best directors, you know, Maya Rao, Radha Kapoor, Tripurari Sharma. So unlike much of, street theatre that has been agit-prop, which has been very, very powerful political theatre, what we were doing was very political, but it was spectacular. We had color, we had everyday dialogue, it touched the heart, it touched the head, and there were people crying, not only women, but middle-aged men sitting there.
नहीं, और जब कोई अत्याचार हो रहा था, there was something happening, they would pause the play and ask the audience, so what do you think she should do now?
Yeah.
And the audience would tell them how to proceed.
Because actually, Punita, you know, somebody who's in the audience, who's actually
gone through it,
thinking that women can walk out of their home, but seeing one woman killed in the play, and the next woman also on the verge of being abused so badly, saying, मैं भी क्या मारी जाऊंगी कि मैं यहाँ से निकल सकती हूँ. So the audience was caught, you know, at that moment they all felt, yes, she should move out. So the human being kind of arose from within those layers of patriarchal conditioning. And and what
Amazing.
happened to us was that we kind of at least came out of, our shells and became also in our personal lives, and we could kind of walk out of certain things, speak out about certain things. So,
Amazing.
but it just
Amazing.
carries on and on and on and on. So yeah.
Thank you. In fact, Tripurari, at that point, the early 90s, I'd worked with her. She did a television program with me called Shakti, which was on women's empowerment. And what an amazing person.
Yes, yes.
Really.
No, we
really.
had the best directors, and
Absolutely.
actually the plays were written by collectives of women, so in workshop situations. So it brought out a live, maybe there was no written script even. The plays were produced like in 3 dimensions. We were improvising, and those were made into, connected and designed into a play by somebody like Tripurari,
Right, yeah,
who's quietly
yeah.
sitting there and watching. So
Great.
we did this also. I do want to very much say that it was cross-class. So that's where people like us who had grown up in middle-class enclaves met women who were very, very rebellious as well. And we shared our politics. And we became friends. So some of, actually
Yeah.
of late, when we've been reviving, along with the research on the book and, interviewing older people, I interviewed Sanjoy also
Right.
for this, because Sanjoy was part of our plays. But part of that was trying to actually perform again. So we did do a play reading session.
Yeah.
Because sadak pe kaise karoge, in Delhi or the city. There is excellent street theater in rural areas like Banda. It is very similar, but in the city it's nearly impossible to do it in that way.
So,
We have done a program of play readings from the old readings called Zindagi Ke Natak, Natakon Ki Zindagi.
Okay.
And Shanti, who was one of the, most powerful women's movement activists, and still continues to live in a very marginalized space, but works continuously in the women's movement, has been part. I mean, she's a brilliant singer, brilliant actor. So
Great.
2, 3 of us, and
Ipti, I need to move on now too.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry. I'm
just
so
winding
conscious
up,
of the
winding
time.
up,
Sorry.
winding up.
No, you were talking about the streets of Delhi. I want to move to the streets of Mumbai, to Kamatipura. And we have this amazing career bureaucrat, Swati Pandey, completely unlike any bureaucrat I've met, who actually was Postmaster General India, Mumbai region. I've got it right? It's a mouthful.
That's right. Too much of it.
And I think you reached out because you wanted to start a post office in Kamatipura. And that got her to connect with the women there. And that's her book, Invisible in Plain Sight. And it's one of the most searing, it's heartbreaking because, so Swati, you have actually, in conversations with those women, you inhabited, their lives. She's put them as short stories, but they're just so, it gave me gooseflesh reading it. She's got into the lives of the women, into their psyche, into what they're feeling. And you're talking about the red light district in Kamatipura, the exploitation. I want you to just share a little bit about, you have a line in your book where you say, I went out to help them. What happened?
Actually, the story started during COVID times where we had this COVID warriors. And everybody recognized Mumbai was the first case of COVID. So we went into a hyper, scary mode. And India Post also became COVID warriors because you had the elderly who could not come to any bank to take money for their groceries and fending off. So during one of these trips to motivate my postmen on the street that we must definitely man the post office, I stumbled into Kamatipura. The first was not me wanting to open the post office. The first was me actually just letting the system work for itself. And, the first time when I went in, my postmaster told me, I saw this group of women and they were looking sunken, hungry. Everybody in Mumbai in those times looked hungry. And he told me, Madam, आप वहाँ मत जाइए, उनके और उनसे बात मत करिए, ये खराब औरतें हैं, खराब औरतें. For me, that was so revolting. to hear somebody saying कि ये औरतें खराब हैं, and it came to me कि अच्छी औरतें भी हैं, खराब औरतें भी हैं. मैंने कभी ये महसूस नहीं किया. हाँ, ये है कौन? और ये बात भी है कि हम जब भी कमाटीपुरा, all of us cross, we are, you know, in this बंधन of morality and dignity. हाँ, मैं मिडिल क्लास इंडिया की हूँ, मैं भुवनेश्वर में पैदा हुई थी, नागपुर में बड़ी हुई 1980s में. तो हमने कभी ये खराब औरतों को देखा, न जाना, न महसूस किया. और जब भी हमें, इफ़ एनीबडी टॉक्ड अबाउट अ सेक्स वर्कर, हमें बोली गई दैट डोंट लुक दैट वे. ये औरतें अपने आप को, कैन यू इमेजिन, जो औरतें अपनी ज़िंदगी चलाने के लिए अपने आप को 10-12 बार बेचती हैं दिन में, एंड द इकोनॉमिक.
और आप कह रहे थे 200 रुपए के.
200 रुपये, 150 से 200 रुपये के लिए दिन में. तो हम जो यहाँ डिग्निफाइड औरतें हैं, शायद ये सबसे बड़ी स्टम्बलिंग ब्लॉक थी. और मैं जब मुझे कुछ महीनों के बाद एक औरत, उसमें काजोल, क्योंकि आप जब बोल रही थी क्लासलेस सोसाइटी, लुक, दिस इज अ क्लासलेस, रिलीजनलेस एंड लैंग्वेजलेस सोसाइटी. क्योंकि यही औरतें अपने लिए माँ बाप भी हैं, इनके बच्चे भी हैं, ये अपने आर्किटेक्ट्स ऑफ देयर ओन वर्ल्ड है. एंड तब आपको मैं फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट में जब गई, काजोल मुझे खाना बुलाई थी, वो बोली दीदी क्या आप घर आएंगे हमारी. एंड ये 2-3 महीने के बाद, क्योंकि वो हमें विश्वास नहीं करते हैं, हम या तो उनको सेवियर कॉम्प्लेक्स के साथ जाते हैं, वी गो टू सेव देम, टेक देम आउट ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड.
A bit patronizing.
Yeah, patronizing. We don't realize that is their world. Why can't we accept that that is the world that they have made? यही उनकी ज़िंदगी, और उसमें उन्होंने अपनी एक, they have made their world there. तो मैं बोली हाँ मैं जाऊंगी. और मैं जब गई, उनमें से रीना and 2 people came to take me, and one man, I was dressed like this. मैं हमेशा गजरा पहनती हूँ, मुझे अच्छा लगता है फूलों को खुशबू. एक आदमी मुझे पूछा कितने का माल है.
ओ
मैं समझ नहीं पाई. मैं अच्छे गप्पे शप्पे करती थी, and I was walking, and then one of those ladies in her, she just shouted at him, and then another ran away. There was a ruckus. और काजोल जो है वो आकर इसको मारने लगी, और मुझे बोली दीदी आप चलिए. They dragged me up a very rickety stair and to a room that I have written that it was, the first thing that comes to you is the odor. बहुत बदबू है, उन एरियाज में बदबू है, बिकॉज कोई जाता भी नहीं है साफ सफाई करने. इट्स लाइक there's a sheen of dirt and there's a sheen of odor. It's later when I sat, तब मुझे किसी ने बोला कि, मैंने बोला आप ये मार धाड़ क्यों करें. मैं नहीं समझी. हमारे वर्ल्ड में ये समझ भी नहीं आता है कि क्या बोल रहे हैं. देन शी सेड कि दीदी वो आपका रेट पूछ रहा था क्योंकि आप सुंदर माल दिख रही हो. मैंने अपने आप को कभी जिंदगी में ना, I didn't realize
What did
that.
you feel then when you were looked at as mal?
Crying. I started crying.
It was
and-
humiliating.
Yeah, and not the crying happened because people who know me, and मैम आपके जैसे ना मैं बहुत rebellious थी. 2 बेटियां थे हम लोग भुवनेश्वर में. So my father was always told कि आपका तो बेटा नहीं है, मुखाग्नि कौन देगा. हम हिंदूज में ना बहुत important है, जीना important नहीं है. मौत के वक्त मुखाग्नि बेटा कैसे देगा. So I grew up in that world कि मुखाग्नि देने वाला तो कोई है ही नहीं. Incomplete, you're incomplete, right? And I used to take care of India Post, 5,300 staff of Mumbai region, celebrated person, media says, wow, you got used to this sheen. And then Kajol, a commercial sex worker, protects me from a man who thinks I'm a mal. I actually came back home and I cried, and I realized maybe if we went to that world, all of us become that, we are just commodities in that world. It has changed me forever.
Okay, so coming to the topic of dissent,
Yeah.
I want to ask you, being a bureaucrat, there are certain conventional things you have to conform.
Yes.
But if it's changed you from within,
Yes.
it's moved,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's moved to a deeply human part of you. How has it changed you as a bureaucrat now?
First of all, I have understood the contradictory nature of truth.
The contrary nature
Yeah,
of truth,
yeah.
okay?
That there is exploitation, there is also acceptance, there is agency, there is coercion, And they all go hand in hand.
Spoke about power also.
Yeah.
Understood the nature of power.
I understood that, I understood power was not the usual elements of it. Power was also to make the small tweaks in policy. Because my book also, government is often lambasted of inaction. Anonymity in government is a plus and a minus. The plus is that you're able to do without you being the heroine. We cannot be the heroes and heroines because we are actually serving, it's a public service.
Right.
And we, like I said, a lot of us come from rural areas, small towns, and us zamane mein, this was the only, if you were not a doctor engineer, what did you do? And you were not a great singer, you were not a great writer, what did you do? You wrote the civil services because you got a job. Naukri ek mil gayi, aap khush the, hum bhi khush the. What it did to me today, it changed, first of all, it brought that humility. That power is nothing if it cannot change something. It does not tweak a system. And the option was that, Aadhaar cards before in India Post, you all have Aadhaar cards and you know that you had to give your proof of address.
Right.
Kamatipura children do not have proof of address. So my mission was through India Post, and that is where government is very important, My department said it's an experiment. If you fail, it's your failure. But if you succeed,
It's
we will
our
adopt
success.
it. We will adopt it. And
Meaning
that is
what? We will open other red light areas?
Yes, meaning that. So first of all, I made Kamatipura post office into all women post office where commercial sex workers, the women feel comfortable.
Who mans the post office?
The women.
From
all.
Kamatipura only, they're given?
No. The postal, no.
Okay.
Our postal employees.
Okay,
So
okay.
the postman is a woman, the postmaster is a woman, the postmaster general is a woman there too.
Okay, lovely.
So what we did is that instead of having a proof of address and a guardian, India Post became the proof of address.
Right.
We became the proof of address and we became the guardians. And we opened Aadhaar cards. Aadhaar cards means direct benefit transfer, scholarships,
very
you know what Aadhaar card means today. So those children started having Aadhaar cards, opening a big world to them. And India Post took that up, and India Post today has a scheme that where children have no proof of address, India Post becomes a guarantee of the address.
Excellent,
And
excellent.
that's how government,
Thank you.
It's a social initiative, but with a government stamp, which is so important.
Thank
to
you.
take off
Thank
that
you,
sheen
Swati.
of inaction from the government. Sarkar bhi kaam karti hai.
Deepti, you have a germ of a play there. But I'm just going to ask, get of Vrinda in. So Vrinda, today you're this criminal lawyer, Supreme Court. People are scared of you actually. Yeah. Yeah. It's like, oh, who's coming? Oh, Vrinda's coming.
The right people are scared of me.
But when you started, you were part of, the whole group. What was the group called? Was there a name to it?
Ehsaas, the play.
Ehsaas. Okay. So you chose not to be an actor. You chose to be a lawyer, right? And you've seen, it's been now like 40 years, 35, 40 years, right? Wow. Suddenly you realize the passage of time. What did you set out doing then? So when you started doing law, you were idealistic, you were fresh with, we're going to speak out, we're going to do this, we're going to do all of that. And today, you've been involved in a lot of, the Anti-Dowry Act, now it's what, vulnerable witness depositions, the framework? Yeah? Okay. But I just want you to trace, what the journey has been for like you, and I get a sense that dissent was much easier way back in time. I'm wondering, am I right in terms of the legal point of view? What would you like to sort of share with us? Part of your journey and yeah.
Thanks, Punita. Thank you, Deepti, for writing this book, which, as Punita said, is really a shared history of many of us. Most of us were from Delhi University, and then there were many senior to us. And Deepti, Sonjoy Roy, myself, we all were part of a play called Ehsaas and then Om Swaha, and about all the social issues that we've been discussing. I think from the 80s to now, everything has changed, and of course, change is inevitable. The women's movement, for instance, which would challenge everything on the streets, is different today, but for instance, sex workers' unions are part of the women's movement, whether those in Sangli or those in Sonagachi. They are part of the women's movement. We've all learned, persons of different sexual orientation, gender identity are part of the women's movement, of the feminist movement, engages actively with them. So much of that change has happened, and it's reflected differently. Obviously, it's not necessarily through street theater now. As far as being personally involved, I would always make a joke of it that I just changed the theater of performance. The performance from the street went to the courtroom, and the courtroom is actually a theater par excellence, and you have to perform daily over there. The best part is everybody is performing if you watch closely. The script is not necessarily the one written in law, the Constitution. The script is changing. And the change of the script can sometimes be very concerning. Part of the script must change as time moves forward, but part of the script can't be subverted altogether. I think in earlier times, raising new ideas, and in this country, in our society, from what Bhanu also said, ideas, whether in the home or outside, there have always been new ideas, and there will be. But there wasn't necessarily, either from the state, or for me, what is much more concerning, from society, there wasn't such a strong reaction, condemnation of anything new, different way of thinking, or a minority perspective or point of view. You may disagree with what somebody holds true. For instance, listening to Swati, many of us, including in the courtroom, have a different way of approaching Aadhaar. There's been a debate around Aadhaar. There is today a debate on SIR. As we speak, we are arguing that matter in the Supreme Court. So there are ways in which we have always challenged government action and government policies. But when it comes to, I think what is happening today is not just dissent. It is any form of free speech. You will not have a thought, an idea which does not fit into the meta-narrative. It may not necessarily be very dissenting. And I think recent examples of what has transpired shows that that kind of diverse way of thinking is today, not only are you treated as somebody who's not going to be accepted, engaged with, but you are punished, you are penalized, you are criminalized. And that's where the role of the courts, for at least in my version, becomes important, that was the one institution designed to actually be that bulwark to ensure freedoms. Today, the interpretation of freedom, and we are hearing that both in the script being today authored in the courtroom, as well as by the state, that the freedom will be secondary to duty. Liberty will be subversive, subservient to the state. That is not how any freedom of liberty has ever existed in any society. So I would see this as a passing phase. It's a very challenging time globally, not just domestically. And I think any society where dissent is punished, penalized, criminalized, and I would openly say, we know the recent example of the Delhi riots and Omar Khalid, for whose speech he is now languishing. It's a young, intellectual Muslim leader. Putting people behind bars, a society that is not willing to engage. You may not agree. There is no difficulty. Nobody is ever going to agree with everything. But to put people behind bars, to put fear, is actually something that is going to stunt and stultify our society. And for our own sake, we need to engage. We are not doing anybody a favor by giving them freedom or liberty. So if institutions are not able to wake up, and that's happened before in this country, I think it's for all of us, and forums like this, for engagement, for conversation, for agreements and for disagreements.
And dialogue, most important. Absolutely. Dialogue, to be heard and okay. Okay, there's so much I want to ask each one of you. I mean, and I'm aware that we've got about 7.5 minutes left. I'm going to open it up to the floor. I just think it's so fascinating. None of these women here only focus on gender or women's issues, right? It's really about oppression, it's about injustice, about the marginalized. I was just wondering, why are we all only women here? Right? Anyway, I can ask the organizers a bit later. But yeah, whoever has questions, Arpit, maybe we could just take them in, bunches of 2, 3. You could tell her. And I would just appeal, don't comment, ask the question because we're running short of time.
So this is for Swati and anyone else. Why aren't CSWs considered as a profession and eligible for healthcare and other things, like other professions are? Thank you.
I think this may just be a question for Vrinda and not me, because it's a judicial kind of a question. It's, yeah.
So you need to spell out what CSW is. Not everyone knows that.
Commercial sex
Sex
workers.
workers.
Oh,
that-
okay.
Vrinda, would you like
Why
to
is it
say
not considered
why
a
not?
profession?
Actually, the law is a little ambiguous on this. It doesn't criminalize the woman. It criminalizes the person who's paying and the person who's running the brothel. It is the sex workers movement which has actually brought about the changes in law, including in the 2013 amendment. We do have two schools of thought here. There are those who would like to see all form of sex work as trafficking and exploitation. It's also a hugely funded American approach. And then there are approaches within our country where sex workers have said, if you give us rights, if you recognize us, we will undo our own quote-unquote police and other exploitation, and we are not here by force, we are making choices. If you are uncomfortable with them, you need to think about it. We are actually imposing our morality. When Swati, just half a second I'll take, when Swati spoke about she felt humiliated, she cried. Please think very carefully, and I immediately started reflecting on my own life and life of hundreds of women. Which profession, which social space is not commodifying us, is not putting us in certain roles, is not evaluating us, is not putting a value label, monetary or otherwise, on our skills? Actually, it's the same thing. These are moral codes we have set up. We need to think about them.
Thank you. Any other question? Yeah? Okay, how many questions can we we've got 5 minutes left. So we need to just accommodate. Arpit? Okay. Maybe the questions 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah? 2 from here, 2 from here.
This is a question for Banu Mushtaq. Congratulations on the Booker. My question is, do you think you were, having started out writing in Kannada, do you think you were more effective in reaching your audience, in effecting social change, than if you had started writing in English?
Okay. And the other question, what is the other question here?
Namaste, ma'ams. This question is for all of you. We've discussed the successes and the failures of the government, and we've discussed how the protests moved in the 70s and 80s. I wanted to ask what should be the modern approach, because we have people in our government making statements like rape is inevitable, might as well lie down and enjoy it. So how do we tackle and how do we take a new approach to actually fight the patriarchal movement that is taking over our society?
Okay, so Manuji, answer kar lo.
Yeah. The thing is, I come from a Muslim family. I wanted to write, but challenges were great. What to write? To whom to write? Who are my readers? So, Kannada people and Hindus were the writers. Till then, there were no footsteps of any Muslims writing, but they were into the system. And I just wanted to write against the system, challenging the system. So that's why all these questions, they were so haunting me, I could not write anything. But in our workshops with our senior writers, I discussed these things, and they said, this is at that time, there was Bandaya literary movement. Bandaya is rebellious movement, which challenged all the then conditions of the society, so that to facilitate the marginalized people, women, Dalits, farmers, everybody who were, had a very tough time and against whom injustices was caused. So, I never studied Urdu. I was admitted to Urdu school as per the custom then. At those times when I started my primary education, boys were sent to Kannada medium school and girls were sent to Urdu medium school. Because two things were there. They should not write any love letters when they come of age. That take was taken in the earlier stage itself. And next, to continue religion, Islamic culture and traditions and the orthodoxy, the girls were taught only in Urdu. But I don't know what happened to me. Throughout 1 year, I was sent to Urdu school and I never studied even a single alphabet. But afterwards, my grandfather, he was a school teacher, Urdu teacher, and he made efforts and made me to learn Urdu also, and I have translated from many books from Urdu to Kannada. It's a different story. But at that time, during my first standard, my father was greatly worried because when I was born, he had some Brahmin friends. One of his friends, he had that Jatka, horoscope written, wherein it was stated, I have read that book, it was in a exercise book, wherein he had written that this baby, when she grows up, she will write beautiful books and world will hear about it. Wow. I don't know. Wow. I don't believe in any horoscopes.
Lovely.
But it was written, I have read it myself. So my father was worried. See, this priest, he's telling all such great things about this girl, and she's not at all studying even the first standard. What to do? He was greatly disturbed. He was a government servant. He was a senior health inspector. After 1 year, he was transferred to Shivamogga district headquarters, wherein, fortunately, a Kannada convent was against his office. It was situated like that. So he thought it better to drop me there and to pick up. It will be convenient. He got me admitted to Kannada school. And Kannada, it has helped me in many ways to understand the position of minor communities, marginalized people, and it helped me to get in touch with all the social movements, the then prevailing. And I was the coordinator for Bandaya also, and it has taught me regional principles and the culture to understand the other people, and all those things I have understood through Kannada only. It is Kannada mindset. I adopted not only Kannada as a language, as a mindset, and as a progressive mindset, I understood Kannada, and thereby I started writing in Kannada, and it has helped me a lot, and it has helped the Kannadigas also to understand the marginalized people, the minority community, the women, everything. Because as Swati has and she has said, at those times we were having some slogans like a stage play she just referred. We used to have a slogan, yes dear, yes, I said I will marry you but not carry you.
Okay, I'm sorry, on that note, we have to end. Yeah, we've come to the end of... No, so I just want to say, one sec. Swati and Deepti are going to... Yeah, what do I do, Deepti?
2 minutes for the last question, because it was...
2 minutes for the last question, but then it'll carry on to another question, another question. It's okay, if you look that, it's 0-0. Y'all can meet outside. So Deepti and Swati are going to be signing their books right outside. And you can engage with them. I'm really sorry. The idea is that the next session starts on time. That's the way it functions in JLF. I know we were short of time. We started late. Out of our control, I'm sorry. But thank you. You've been an amazing audience. Thank you.